Most women were trained to be good girls, and that's exactly why they lose. Confident women play by a different set of rules, and that's exactly why they win. So, in these next few minutes, you're going to see 4 shifts that will separate the woman that is stuck from the woman who moves with authority. She's not louder, she's not harder, she's grounded, clear, and aligned. So do you remember when you were a little girl, you might have overheard your parents talking or other parents talking about their child, their daughter saying, oh, she is such a good girl. She does what she's supposed to, don't have to ask her much. She gets up, shows up on time. She does all the things. I couldn't ask for a better daughter. And why were you a good girl? Because you were agreeable. You did what you were told. You followed the rules. You did not ask questions. And as a little girl, that's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to follow your parents. But it doesn't just feel good. It trains you that approval comes from compliance. So I call this the good girl role. It's a role you learn to play, not necessarily who you were created to be. So we grow up carrying this role into our womanhood. And now, every time you question something, speak up or say no, it almost feels like you're doing wrong, like you have really committed a sin, like you're breaking a rule. Now, let me be clear. I want to be clear today about the woman that I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking about you. The woman who knows she is capable, gifted, anointed, and called, but consciously or subconsciously or unconsciously, you still contain yourself. You're not the woman who fully doubts who she is. You're the woman who hasn't learned how to stand in it fully. And I want to be clear that this comes with no socioeconomic status. Being successful outwardly doesn't mean that you're showing up fully in your power. So we were taught how to behave as good girls, how to get in where we fit in, how to be responsible, reliable, and agreeable. You are the one person that everybody could come to and lean on, and we are rewarded for that role, but we were never fully taught to occupy. And that is the tension that I'm naming today. So let's define this, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. A good girl role is not weak. She is basically trained. She learned early that love was conditional, that approval came from being agreeable, that safety came from being easy to manage. So the good girl says yes when she means no. She over apologizes. She over explains so that she could feel safe, secure, and light. She shrinks to keep the peace, not because she fully lacks confidence, but because she was taught to prioritize being liked over being aligned. And I need you to hear this clearly. The good girl role isn't a broken role. She's not broken. She's just obedient to rules that God never wrote for her. Now, contrast that with the confident woman. She's not louder. She's not aggressive. She's not trying to dominate the room. She's anchored. She speaks truth with love. She honors her boundaries without feeling guilty for it. She understands that disappointing others is sometimes the cost that she'll have to pay for not betraying herself. The difference is not personality. The difference is in identity. The conditioning didn't just come from nowhere. Most of us, most women, were trained through family systems that rewarded compliance, church cultures that praised silence over full-on strength, and workplace that values almost helplessness instead of more authority, right? You were taught that it's good to be nice, not to make anyone feel awkward or not to be difficult. And here's, I think, what we're not told. That training works when you are a child, a little girl, but it becomes a liability when you are a grown woman because it costs you. Now, what does it cost you? It costs you your time because everyone else's needs come first. It costs you your energy because you're always managing the wrong. And that sucks the life out of you. It costs you respect because people expect for you to give what you've always given. Right? And it costs you opportunity because the good girl role, she sits back and she waits to be chosen. And this role, she didn't actually lose her confidence. The training made her forget. Now let's talk about the 4 shifts, not fully as instructions. I want you to become very self-aware. All right? The first shift, we go from permission to permissionless. The good girl role asks, is it okay if I? The confident woman understands something different. She does not require a whole consensus to be obedient to her calling. Permission seeking often masquerades as humility, but it's actually fear wearing good manners. Confidence doesn't show up when permission arrives. It shows up when obedience outweighs approval. Okay, the second shift is peacekeeping to truth-telling. There's the shift. The good girl role believes that discomfort equals it's danger, so she softens, she edits, she delays, she absorbs. The confident woman understands that truth is not unloving and silence is not always kind. She tells the truth without cruelty because she values integrity more than approval. All right, here's the third shift. The third shift goes from proving to owning. The good girl role overperforms to earn worth. She explains herself endlessly. She justifies every decision that needs no defense. The confident woman moves different. She moves from a different place. She understands that worth is not earned through exhaustion and authority is not proven through over-delivery. If you have to keep proving your worth, you have already forgotten who gave it to you. Okay, the fourth shift, it goes from disappearing to being fully seen. Okay, so the good girl role disappears quietly. She disappears in busyness, in service, in humility, that's actually fear. The confident woman allows herself to be visible, not for attention. She doesn't say, see me, because visibility is often connected to her assignment. So she shows up. Hiding is not humility. It's fear dressed up as discipline. Now, hear this slowly and carefully. You are not a problem to manage. You aren't. You are not too much. You are not difficult. You are a woman with God-given authority, wisdom, and presence. God did not design women to mature in silence. He didn't. He designed us to mature in partnership, in community. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is full alignment. It is agreement with what God has already said about you before anyone taught you to be good. The good girl role loses. Like the good girl loses because they play not to offend. They monitor reactions, manage emotions, shrink their truth to stay acceptable. A confident woman understands something completely different. They are not here to be managed. They are here to be aligned with the one that created them. They are willing to be misunderstood if it means being obedient to who God called them to be. One path leads to approval. The other path leads to assignment. One keeps you light. The other keeps you anchored. And I would bet that for years, you might have been asking, well, who do they need me to be? Like, exactly who do you need me to be to like me or accept me? But today, that question changes to, who did God create me to be? You do not need another decade of proving your goodness, sis. You need a decision to stand fully in your God-given identity. The moment you stop playing the good girl is the moment real life begins. Okay, so the scripture tells us in 2 Timothy 1:7 that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Fear produces the good girl role, afraid of rejection, conflict, and not being liked. But God gave you the power to decide, to make a decision, to love that is not rooted in people pleasing, and the sound mind that doesn't second guess your every single move. Confidence, again, is not arrogance. It is the agreement with what God already said about you. When God stepped back and said, "Oh, my creation is good. It is very good." He wasn't just admiring the masterpiece that he just created. He was recognizing himself reflected back to him. Strength, beauty, order, authority, purpose. A design, a being that was designed to stand upright, carry weight, take up space without apology. That's who you are, sis. That's who you are. So today, I just want you to become self-aware and you decide, are you going to stay in that good girl role? Are you going to walk as the confident woman that God has created to be? That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope this brings you some self-awareness so that this week you can really see the role that you have been playing and the shifts that you need to make. And if this helped you, please like, please share with another woman. And until next time, show up for yourself, sis, because when you do, it changes everything.